What if humans could control the weather? Picture this. It's July 2027. You wake up, check your phone, and there's a notification that says, Weather Preference Survey, vote on tomorrow's climate. You can choose sunny and 75 degrees Fahrenheit, light rain for the gardens, or partly cloudy with a cool breeze. This isn't science fiction. This is what happens when humanity cracks the code on weather manipulation. When we finally turn the chaos of nature into something we can control with the push of a button. Sounds like paradise, right? No more droughts, no more hurricanes, no more surprise rainstorms ruining your weekend plans. But what if I told you this power could either save civilization or trigger World War III? Let me take you back to where it all begins, because the path to weather control starts with something nobody expected. It's 2024. Climate scientists at MIT aren't trying to control weather, they're trying to stop hurricanes. They developed something called atmospheric resonance technology, or ART. The idea is simple. Use massive arrays of targeted microwave emitters to heat or cool specific air masses, disrupting storm formation before hurricanes can develop. The first test happens in August 2025. Hurricane Patricia is forming in the Atlantic, Category 5 track, heading straight for Miami. The ART system activates from floating platforms in the ocean. And it works. The hurricane dissipates into a tropical storm. Millions of lives and billions in property damage saved. By March 2026, 17 nations have pooled resources to build the Global Weather Network, a system of satellites, ocean platforms, and ground stations capable of influencing weather patterns across entire regions. Here's how it works. The GWN can heat or cool air masses by a few degrees, redirect jet streams slightly, seed clouds for rain, or suppress precipitation. It's not magic. It's precise manipulation of atmospheric conditions using coordinated energy inputs. Think of it like steering a ship. You can't stop the ocean, but you can change your course. The GWN can't eliminate weather, but it can guide it. The promise, early 2026. The first applications are miraculous. California's drought ends in weeks. The system redirects moisture from the Pacific. Bangladesh gets advance warning and weakened monsoons, preventing flooding that would have killed thousands. The Sahel region in Africa receives steady, predictable rainfall for the first time in decades. By mid-2026, global food production increases by 18%. Weather-related deaths drop 60%. Insurance companies project trillions in savings. But then comes the problem that nobody anticipated. Who decides the weather? The crisis, November 2026. Farmers in Iowa want rain. Tourism operators in Orlando want sun. European nations want mild winters to reduce heating costs. Middle Eastern countries want cooler summers. China wants clear skies for solar panels. Russia wants warmer temperatures to extend growing seasons. Everyone wants different weather, and they all think they deserve it. The UN establishes the International Weather Authority in September 2026 to manage global weather decisions. But here's the catch. Weather doesn't respect borders. If you make it rain in Kansas, you might be preventing rain in Oklahoma. If you weaken a typhoon headed for Japan, you might be diverting it toward the Philippines. Every weather decision creates winners and losers. And by November 2026, countries are threatening to withdraw from the GWN and build their own systems. The breaking point, December 2026. December 15th, 2026. Emergency session at UN headquarters. The debate has been raging for months. Should weather control be centralized under international authority, or should nations have sovereignty over their own atmospheric space? The vote is 96 to 87. And this single decision splits humanity into two completely different futures. Let me show you both timelines. The good ending scenario A, the climate commons. The Weather Treaty of 2027 passes. Weather control becomes a managed global commons. Year 1, 2027. The framework. Here's how it works. The International Weather Authority operates the GWN as a public utility. Every region gets a weather allocation based on population, agricultural needs, and economic impact. Think of it like radio spectrum. Everyone gets bandwidth, but it's coordinated to prevent interference. The Midwest gets its spring rains. Florida gets hurricane-free summers, but accepts that means slightly wetter winters. Europe gets stable weather patterns optimized for agriculture and energy. The key innovation? Weather banking. If your region doesn't use its allocation, you can trade it. California trades some of its sunny days to Seattle for extra water credits during drought years. African nations coordinate to create optimal growing conditions across the continent. Year 3, 2029. The Green Revolution 2.0. By 2029, agriculture transforms completely. With predictable weather, farming becomes engineering. You plant knowing exactly when rain comes, when sun shines, when temperatures shift. Global food production increases 40% while using less land because every acre is optimized. Famines become preventable. If famine threatens, the IWA redirects weather patterns to save crops. The last major famine occurs in 2028. After that, none. Water wars end. The Nile Valley dispute, the Indus water conflict, the Colorado River crisis, all resolved because water scarcity becomes manageable through weather redistribution. Year 5, 2031. The economic transformation. The weather-dependent economy explodes. Tourism becomes perfectly predictable. You book a Caribbean vacation knowing it'll be sunny because the resort paid for weather allocation. Outdoor events never get canceled. Construction projects never face weather delays. But here's what's fascinating. People develop a new relationship with weather. It's no longer something that happens to you, it's a managed resource, like electricity or internet. Children grow up never experiencing truly random weather. Some worry we're losing something, the wild unpredictability that defined human experience for millennia. But the trade-off seems worth it. No more tornado-destroyed towns. No more drought-driven starvation. No more climate refugee crises. Year 10, 2036. Climate crisis averted. Here's the game changer. With precise weather control, we can actually reverse climate change. The GWN doesn't just manage weather, it manages climate. Rising global temperatures? The system redistributes heat, reflects more sunlight, optimizes cloud cover. Ocean acidification? Controlled rainfall patterns help manage ocean chemistry. Ice caps melting? Targeted cooling in polar regions slows the process while humanity transitions away from fossil fuels. By 2036, global average temperatures have stabilized. Sea level rise has slowed to manageable rates. The existential threat of climate collapse? Averted. Year 20, 2046. The cooperative species. By 2046, humanity has fundamentally changed. Weather control forced something unprecedented: genuine global cooperation. Because weather is interconnected, nations had to learn to coordinate. You can't have optimal weather in isolation. Brazil's decisions affect Argentina. India's choices impact Pakistan. Europe's weather affects North Africa. This cooperation spreads to other areas. If we could coordinate weather management, why not ocean cleanup? Why not space exploration? Why not pandemic response? The Weather Treaty becomes the template for managing all global commons. It's not world government. Nations retain sovereignty, but it's proof that humanity can cooperate at planetary scale when the incentives align. The cost. But what did we lose? Wildness, unpredictability, the raw power of nature that inspired every religion and philosophy. Thunderstorms are scheduled. Snowfall is allocated. Even rainbows become predictable because you know exactly when rain and sun will coincide. Some argue we've become gardeners of the atmosphere, and gardens, no matter how beautiful, are domesticated. There's a movement of weather naturalists who live in unmanaged zones, experiencing random weather like our ancestors did. They're a tiny minority, but they preserve something important: the memory of what it meant to be awed by forces beyond our control. This is the world cooperation created. The bad ending scenario B, the weather wars. The treaty fails. Nations refuse to surrender weather sovereignty. Instead, they build competing systems. Year 1, 2027. The arms race. By March 2027, 8 nations have independent weather control systems: the US, China, Russia, EU, India, Brazil, Australia, and Saudi Arabia. They operate without coordination. The first weather incident happens in April 2027. India uses its system to enhance monsoon rains for agriculture, but the moisture has to come from somewhere. It drains from Pakistan's system. Crops fail across Pakistan. Millions face starvation. Pakistan demands compensation. India refuses, claiming atmospheric sovereignty. By June, they're in armed conflict. Year 2, 2028. Weaponization. Once nations realize weather control can harm enemies, the obvious happens: weaponization. The technology that prevented hurricanes can create them. Systems designed to bring rain can cause floods. Mechanisms for cooling can trigger blizzards. In August 2028, during a territorial dispute, China accidentally causes catastrophic flooding in Vietnam. The official story? A technical malfunction. The reality? The first weather attack in human history. By December 2028, every major power has a weather strike division. The new arms race isn't nuclear, it's meteorological. Year 5, 2031. The climate chaos. Here's what nobody anticipated. Weather systems are interconnected. When 8 different nations try to manipulate weather simultaneously with no coordination, the entire system destabilizes. The jet streams, which took millennia to establish stable patterns, get disrupted by competing manipulations. Ocean currents shift unpredictably as different nations try to control hurricane formations. The water cycle, evaporation, condensation, precipitation, becomes chaotic. By 2031, weather isn't just controlled, it's broken. Europe experiences summer blizzards because Russian weather manipulation interferes with American systems. Southeast Asia gets simultaneous droughts and floods in neighboring regions. Australia faces temperatures swinging 40 degrees in single days. Agricultural planning becomes impossible. You can't plant crops when you don't know if next month brings monsoon or drought. Global food production drops 25%. The famines that weather control was supposed to prevent? They get worse. Year 8, 2034. The Fortress Climates. Wealthy nations build climate domes, localized weather control systems that protect their territories regardless of what happens elsewhere. The US, EU, China, and Gulf states maintain perfect weather within their borders. It's always 72 degrees Fahrenheit and sunny in California, even while the rest of North America experiences climate chaos. Everyone else? They live in what's called the wild weather zones, regions where competing systems create unpredictable, often deadly conditions. By 2034, climate becomes the new inequality. The wealthy live in controlled paradise. The poor face weather roulette, droughts, floods, extreme heat, unexpected freezes, all unpredictable because multiple nations are fighting for atmospheric control overhead. Year 10, 2036. The breaking point. The year 2036 brings the Great Drought, but it's not natural. Intelligence agencies later reveal it was caused by overlapping weather control systems accidentally creating a persistent high-pressure zone over Central Africa and South Asia. 400 million people face famine. Mass migration begins, the largest refugee crisis in human history. Nations with climate domes close their borders. Millions die. The UN calls emergency sessions. Everyone blames everyone else. Russia says China caused it. China says American systems interfered. The US blames Russia. Nobody admits fault. Year 15, 2041. The Weather Wars. Weather terrorism becomes the new threat. Non-state actors hack into weather control systems and hold regions hostage. In 2041, a group floods Jakarta for ransom. Another causes a heat wave in Moscow, demanding political concessions. Nations respond by militarizing weather control. The skies become battlefields. Hurricanes are weaponized. Droughts are deployed strategically. Floods become acts of war. Year 20, 2046. Atmospheric collapse. By 2046, scientists issue a dire warning. The planet's weather systems have been so disrupted by competing manipulations that natural recovery may be impossible. The Earth's climate is like a complex machine that nations have been hitting with hammers while trying to fix it. Nobody knows how to undo the damage because the damage comes from multiple sources operating independently. Average global temperatures have risen faster than worst-case climate models predicted. Not from carbon emissions alone, but from atmospheric manipulation creating feedback loops. Ocean currents are destabilizing. Arctic and Antarctic systems are collapsing. Humanity achieved the power to control weather and used it to destroy the climate faster than nature ever could. This is the world competition created. If this scenario made you think twice about playing God with nature, smash that subscribe button. We explore reality-breaking what-if questions every week. And here's your weather forecast. Drop an A if you think humanity could cooperate on weather control, or a B if you think we'd weaponize it within a year. Let me know in the comments. So there it is. Same technology, same moment of choice in 2026. Two completely different futures based on one decision: cooperate or compete. Here's what haunts me about this one. We're not that far from this technology being real. Cloud seeding already exists. Geoengineering proposals are serious. The science is there. What we don't have is the wisdom to use it properly. Because here's the real question this scenario raises. Can humanity handle godlike power? Weather control is just the beginning. Genetic engineering, artificial intelligence, nanotechnology. We're developing technologies that could reshape reality itself. And every one of them faces the same fork in the road. Will we cooperate and lift everyone up? Or will we compete and tear everything down? In our world right now, we're dealing with a much slower version of this, climate change, and we still can't coordinate a global response. Countries argue about emissions cuts while the planet heats up. If we can't cooperate on reducing carbon, what makes us think we could cooperate on controlling weather? But maybe, just maybe, if we had the power to instantly see the consequences of non-cooperation, we'd choose differently. Maybe the threat of weather wars would be enough to force cooperation. So here's my question for you. Knowing human nature, knowing how nations compete over resources, knowing how technology gets weaponized, which timeline do you honestly think we'd get? And more importantly, should we even try to control the weather? Or is this one power humanity should never possess? Next week, we're diving into another reality-splitting scenario that'll make you question everything you think you know. Until then, stay curious, look up at the sky, and appreciate that, for now, the weather doesn't take orders from anyone. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.